conditioning coach. Okay. So it's my privilege today to be standing here before all of you, and a great honor to be speaking in front of children of my age. Well, you heard it correctly. My body age is 51, but I have the enthusiasm of a 15-year-old. So how did that happen? You know what I did? I kicked one and it went behind 5. Well, that was just a silly joke. What I'm talking here about is mental strength. You cannot even train your body if you're not mentally strong. So my journey, my story is not very melodramatic, but a story that every woman here will relate to. A story of midlife crisis, a story of sacrifice, a story of work-life balance. I just love today's theme, never say never. It's so close to my heart. Never say never, because my story can be your story. Having said that, I don't mean that you face the same difficulties or adversities that I went through in my life, but wish to convey is that you deal with any situation in your life with courage and just achieve the unachievable, what the world thinks is unachievable. So, who thought that a girl who would miss PT periods in school, would hide from any kind of physical activity, would run away from a sports day in school, would one day, at the age of 40, would lift 95 kgs and win a gold medal in the marathon? Well, I think God had other plans for me. He was saving all my energy for the later years of my life. Now, how did this transformation begin? It all happened when my husband joined Bank of America in Hyderabad, and we were staying in Delhi. So me, along with my son, who was in class 1, moved with him to Hyderabad. So it was moving from North India to South India. So I had a flourishing career in textiles in Delhi, which I gave up my job and moved with him. I did not take up any job. I stayed at home for my son, and I wanted to comfort my husband as well, because it was a new job for him and he was working in shifts and all. So one day I told my son, who was in class 1, listen, I am feeling very lonely and depressed. So he handed over his Doraemon toy to me. So he thought maybe the Doraemon could take out some gadget and help me out. But the gadget had to come from inside me and not from Doraemon. At that point of time, I did not understand that. So as I went ahead, so what I did is that I was not getting any support or any help from anywhere. So I thought, well, this is the time to help myself. And you know what I did? I started binge eating. I used to eat 6 chocolates in one day. I used to just survive on all the junk foods. I used to keep a cold drink bottle 24/7 in my refrigerator and keep drinking it. So my water was my cold drink. So no prizes for guessing what will happen if you do such a thing. Huh? I was obese and diagnosed with high blood pressure. I was just burying my problems and not addressing them. So when I took to binge eating, I was finding that mental comfort. But it was not a mental comfort, it was my mental weakness. Okay? I was not trying to address the problem that I was facing, not trying to find a solution to it, but just burying my problems. So what happens when you bury your problems and you look elsewhere? It erupts like a volcano one day. And the same thing happened with me. Since I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, it rose to a point where I was safe from either a cardiac arrest to happen or some damage to my body, thanks to the doctors and the Almighty that I was saved at the last moment. I was semi-conscious for 4 days, but when I came back, I thought it's all my doing. I saw a troubled husband trying to manage his home, a sick wife, and a young child, and he was all scattered. My son didn't know what to do. He was very young, you know. He had his incomplete homework. He had red marks. He was taking biscuits in his tiffin for last 4 days. I said, what? I sacrificed for these two people, right? And they're the most troubled ones. I've given the most trouble to these two people. So I thought, well, this is all my doing and I will change it. And you must have heard that it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. You know how much time I took? I took just 1 day to change here, overnight, right? A person who was just dependent on junk food, chocolates, cold drinks, from the very next day started a brisk walk and just healthy eating. I don't believe in diets. I just started, my journey with 45 minutes of brisk walk and healthy eating. That was a start of my fitness journey. Now, when we were in school, at that time the career options were very limited. You could either become a doctor, engineer, teacher, professor, or some other profession, but a woman's strength and conditioning coach was definitely unthinkable, right? I wish somebody would have done my career counseling then. I would have become, I think, gone even ahead, but thankful to God that I found my passion at 39. Well, going forward, that I started my journey with a walk and a healthy eating. I went ahead to strength training. I went ahead to doing CrossFit. I went ahead learning martial arts. I went ahead and I started training senior citizens. I started training people with lifestyle disorders. I started taking workshops for corporates. I started taking workshops for the upcoming trainers. So during my journey, when I started taking classes and workshops, I realized people had so many misconceptions about fitness. They don't know what actually it is. So when I did my certifications, American Council of Exercise, and did my specialization with posture and alignment, I realized that there is so much of science behind exercise. There's a biomechanics for one person is not the same what is there for the other person. There is no set rule. A program designed for exercise for person A will be different from a program designed with a person B. It depends on a lot of things in life. So when I say this word, fitness trainer, what comes to your mind? This, right? This is what fitness trainer is all about for most of us. Well, that's not the case, right? So you must have heard that in the gym, if you're lifting 20 kgs today and next day you go and the trainer is just pushing you to lift 30 kgs. And he's just shouting and just motivating you, come on, you can lift 10 kgs more today. Well, it's not about pumping the mind. The science says how many motor units are open in your muscles. And that there's a scientific way to progress, which is called the peaceful progression, right? Where you progress peacefully without any injuries. You have the correct posture, correct forms, you're able to complete certain reps and sets with the weight, and only then you proceed, you add 5% of that weight and proceed. So never get into all these mind-pumping things and enjoy yourself. And another misconception that people have is that strength training is only for the young. Well, once we turn 30, our body does not make muscle mass on its own. We have to work towards it, right? So you see youngsters, they eat anything and they're very fit, okay? But after the age, the same person, that person doesn't understand, okay, I'm living the same life, why am I suddenly getting all this weight problems? Well, muscle is a very expensive tissue, right? It takes care of your weight, okay? So these are the things, these are the misconceptions that people carry. And you, as you get older, you need strength training more. Further, when I started taking classes for senior citizens, people thought, ये क्या करेगी senior citizen class में? क्या उनको ऐसे weight उठवाएगी? 70 साल के लोग हैं, 77 years के लोग हैं, कैसे weight उठाएंगे? Purpose वो नहीं है. That was not my purpose. I was not there to make them weightlifters. Strength training helps you with your daily routines in life. I had a person in my class who was 70 years old, and he used to drink water with a shaky hand. He was not able to lift half a liter of water bottle. So I started with his joint activation. I used therabands, I used small resistance, and slowly he gained strength. My win-win situation was when that person picked up the bottle, drank the water, and kept the bottle back. Well, that's strength training for him, right? So strength training for every person means different. The moment we hear strength training, right, we think that it's something about lifting heavy weights. No, it's just about being able to do your work, day-to-day work, without any help. Now, when the COVID pandemic came, it was not a very good thing to happen, but it did open the online world for all of us. It did for me as well. And I started getting, clients globally. People started approaching me. A lot of people who knew me and wanted to train with me, but since they were living far off, could not. But when I started online training, a lot of people came in, and probably from there I could even pass the messages that I had to much more approach a larger population of people. Now the coming of Google and internet and all these things have done a lot of good to us, but also a little harm. Because today's generation, not only today's generation, a lot of us think we know it all. कुछ भी है तो Google कर लो. Well, there is no need of doctors and hospitals or anything if you can Google everything, right? And same with fitness training. Well, when you come to a fitness trainer, a person, a well-educated, well-qualified trainer will take your medical history, will also decide whether you're ready to go ahead with the workouts or you need a doctor's clearance first, right? And what do you do on the Google? You just get an app and you start working. Who's watching your form? Who's seeing your medical history? Nothing is happening there. So the message I want to spread, the awareness I want to take ahead is that focus on lifestyle change. Eat healthy. Start developing a habit of even 30 minutes of workout 5 days a week. These habits will remain with you long term. But if you fall prey to the fad diets, okay, intermittent fasting, keto diet, all that will not be with you for a very long time. They are not sustainable. And what you get into, a diet challenge cycle. To explain completely the diet challenge cycle, I would need another 20 minutes. So I'll just tell you that in diet challenge cycle, you have the mental strength and you start a dieting. Okay, then the mental strength start deteriorating, right? So you lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and ultimately destroy your metabolism, right? So during my journey, and like anybody else, I faced a lot of challenges as well. So the challenges that I faced was acceptance. Acceptance, especially by men, of a woman strength and conditioning coach. Right? They would say, ये push-up करवा पाएगी, ये pull-up करवा पाएगी, इससे खुद होगा. And I still remember when I went to a party and I said, hi, I'm Shilpi, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Says, oh, Zumba, right? Pilates. Well, what to say? People still have to change their mind a lot, right? So, and when I told somebody I'm even trained in martial arts, he says, Are baap re, bichara husband iska. What has that got to do with that poor man? He's the one who promised me when I was unconscious for 4 days that, Shilpi, this will never happen in your life again. And I promised that. And that's why I'm standing here today. Right? So these are the kind of misconceptions that people carry in their mind. And I think it will slowly change. And I'm working towards the awareness of that. I would just conclude this session by saying that you can find your passion at any age. I found mine at 39, right? So don't worry, keep working on it, and remember, my story can be your story.